Okay, so I'm just going to briefly review the outline and research question assignment. So, the whole point of the assignment is to help you set up your research proposal, which is a future assignment you're going to have to start working on soon, right? So, the idea is that if you go through these steps, you're not going to have kind of a writer's block or trouble later on because you're already going to have this stuff laid out for you, right? So, I just ask you use 12-point font, double spaced for your response for this, for the assignment you turn in. But basically, you can literally just put like number one, number two, number three, whatever, right? Doesn't have to be a essay format kind of situation. So there's no specific length requirement. Just answer the stuff. That's all I'm looking for. It can be pretty short. The point of it isn't to stress you out. The point of it is just to set up a baseline for, your overall research topic. Because in this class, you're going to have to write a proposal and develop a survey. So you're going to kind of need a topic to do that about. So this is the point where I know it's only week 2, but we're in it. So you got to start thinking about the topic. And remember, if you decide, like I put down here at the bottom, if you decide later that you don't want to use this topic, that's fine. You don't have to do this assignment over again. The whole point is just to aid you in researching it later on, right? So the way that it works is, number one, just pick a topic you want to use for your future proposal and write a 1 or 2 sentence description about its sociological relevance. So to say something like, I want to look at income inequality, which is an important topic because in America we have the most income inequality that we've ever had, right? Something like that. And then you're going to write 3 questions or statements that you could make about that topic. So 3 different ones that slice it in kind of a different way. So you could look at different demographic factors or maybe a different scope, right? There's no right or wrong here. But the method to the madness of this, the reason I'm asking you to do 3 of them, is because sometimes when people start doing the actual research, they realize that they either picked an approach that was too narrow or too broad. And oftentimes they feel frustrated, like all these other people are working on their stuff and I'm behind. So for this, you could go back to number 2 and find, a different approach to your same research that you already made, right? So it's really just for you more so than me. And then number 3, you literally just pick one of these statements / questions from number 2 and make it a question, right? Let's see. And then a basic outline. So this could just be like introduction. I'm going to talk about, and this could be bullet points or even like a sentence like, I'm going to talk about income inequality and how that affects, I don't know, women who live in rural areas. I don't know, whatever, right? Then you're going to basically give me in the lit review what basic concepts you're going to use, not the specific articles or not the specific whatever, just the concepts that you're looking at. So if you're looking at income inequality or something like that, you could look at different demographic factors, like how does income inequality vary based on race or gender or sexuality, something like that. And your subtopics or the kind of bullet points of your lit review could be those different things like race, gender, sexuality, etc. So that's all I'm looking for there. It's just things you think you're going to be talking about related to that topic. And then your method, right now, you don't have to have a method. That would be kind of crazy. So at this point, just think about whether or not you would want to do qualitative or quantitative. And we're going to be talking about those things way more in depth later. So it doesn't matter. There's not really a right or wrong answer to that. It just depends on what your question is. If your question's looking at a large scale question, a macro approach kind of thing, then quantitative is usually better suited. If you're looking at something small scale or interpersonal, then, qualitative is usually better, but there's still exceptions to that. And sometimes mixed methods would be a better way to go. But really, at this point, if you're just kind of like, I think I might do a survey or maybe I'll interview, that's kind of a good place right now to be at. And remember, you're just proposing that. You're not actually going to do that. And then in number 5, you just need to answer why the topic is important to study sociologically. So you might think that that's kind of similar to number 1. Number 1 is, what is the relevance, the sociological relevance? Number 5 is, why should we study it? And this should be about a paragraph, right? I want you to draw the connections between the topic and the social importance And the reason I'm doing this to you is because basically number 1 and number 5 kind of end up being your introduction and your conclusion as a, you know, almost like a setup draft for your proposal. So moving into the next assignment for this, you'll have your topic, your research question / thesis statement, your basic outline, and a kind of a fleshed out brief intro and conclusion. So that's a good start, right? So again, like I said, it's tentative. If you want to change it later, it's totally fine. This is just for you to become familiar with the steps of researching and setting up a great research paper. So the total points possible for the assignment are 20 points. And the link to turn it in is on Titanium. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or come to Zoom office hours.